The same things applies to human beings with developed minds. When life evolves or matter, the macrocosmic mind help in the evolution of the human mind. But when the composite structure increases in complexity in the face of Pratisanchara, guided by cosmic imagination, its mental capacity increases and proportionately it is accorded greater rights and responsibilities. When the unit mind takes responsibility for the authorship of action, it must also take responsibility for the consequent praise or criticism. If the government of Bihar finds itself helpless in certain circumstances, it can surrender its entire burden to the central government. Similarly, the unit mind can relinquish its authorship and surrendering all its rights and responsibilities to the supreme entity can become one with that entity by merging the unit mind in the supreme mind. But when inanimate matter does not follow the path of living beings, follows the path of stagnation. When unicellular beings move along the path of Pratisanchara, come in contact with other living beings, they evolve into multicellular creatures. Through the same process, these multicellular creatures can increase their multicellular complexities. When the intensity of the internal struggle increases, the psychic body has to become stronger according to the intensity of the struggle. No matter how powerful a creature may be, if its physical complexities are less, its psychic and spiritual complexities will be proportionately less. That's why the mighty elephant and rhinoceros have to suffer the fate of being the slave of human beings. As the psychic realm of a unit being develops, its capacity for self-expression gradually increases, enabling it to struggle against obstacles and move towards a brilliant future. Human beings, due to their greater control over their propensities, try to express their desires and ambitions after due deliberation, but an undeveloped creature rushes immediately towards any object it sees, which excites its greed. Human beings do not act like that, of course. They control their instinct of greed through proper and rational discrimination. And this discrimination is the result of psychic expansion, which itself is the result of the reflection of the Supreme Consciousness on the unit mental plate. Thus humans reach higher states of psychic expansion as they advance on the path leading to the attainment of the Supreme Entity. This expansion causes them to become established in the subtler world of cognition. Finally, one glorious day, they will either attain liberation by merging their individual minds in Saguna Brahma, or salvation by merging their existential feeling in Nirguna Brahma. But if they remain preoccupied with petty thoughts, they will be converted into subhuman creatures, or even into the crude fundamental factors. Thus there are three paths open to human beings: salvation, moksha, liberation, mukti, and complete crudification. When the five fundamental factors do not get the scope of acquiring a mind in a physical structure, they move towards even more crudity. The solid become more solid, the liquid becoming solid, the luminous becoming liquid and ultimately solid. The aerial factor becomes luminous, then liquid, then solid, and the ethereal factor becomes aerial, then luminous, and liquid, and solid. As a result of the continuous crudification of the fundamental factors, the physical structure becomes more condensed. This path of crudification is the path of degeneration. All the perceptible physical objects of the world are composed of the five fundamental factors. If the subtle factors within them crudify, that is, are converted into solid, one day due to extreme condensation, their existence will go beyond the sense of perception, becoming extremely small. This process of contraction increases the internal clash within the material structure. When the internal clash becomes so intense that the structure can no longer maintain its structural solidarity, it is called Yadashbota. Yadashbota converts all the fundamental factors into the ethereal factor, from which they again move within the flow of samsara, evolving once more to their solid base, where they again get the scope to become a living structure. On one branch of the evolutionary tree, the solid structure develops a crude mind and evolves as a unit being. On the other branch, due to the process of degeneration or the lack of scope for evolution, the solid structure suffers the fate of Yadashbota. Take the case of this planet Earth, which is composed of the 5 fundamental factors. The living beings of this earth are presently able to select the path of salvation or liberation. But when, due to the crudifying influence of samsara, the earth's environment will become uncongenial for habitation, unit beings will not get any further scope to advance along the path of liberation. Under these circumstances, the planet and its atmosphere will gradually get condensed. It will become so small that it will become unrecognizable as a planet. When its internal factors reaches the nadir point of crudity, it will appear to be non-existent outwardly. At this stage, it will experience Yadashbota, causing an immense explosion. That tremendous energy release converts the solid body into the ethereal factor. The celestial bodies of the universe, which are unfit for human habitation, are all moving through the process of Yadashbota and are hurtling towards a catastrophic explosion. This is the inevitable fate of each and every celestial body. But it is possible to increase longevity of our particular planet with the assistance of a highly powerful celestial body, such as a comet or nebula. This phenomenal event of Yadashbota is nothing but the recoiling of the cosmic waves. These recoiling waves become straightened by the explosion. If the ethereal area, luminous liquid and solid factors that form the physical structure of a 6-foot-tall human being are condensed to such a degree that the interprotoplasmic gap becomes completely non-existent, the healthy gentleman would be 1,000,000,000 times smaller than a poppy seed. Behind all these diversities of the creation is Brahma, the supreme entity. Everything is created, maintained and dissolved in him. Nothing lies beyond his microcosmic arena. The Rishi says he is Ishan, the supreme controller of everything, showering grace upon everyone and everything. He is adored and worshipped by all, even the gods. He is the god of the gods. He is Mahadeva. In him lies the real peace. Do not ideate on anything other than the supreme entity. Yo Devanam Prabhava Shod Bhavasha Vishvadipo Rudro Marishi Hiranyagarbham Pashyate Yayamanam Sano Buddhya Shubhaya Samyunaktu. What are these manifestations, these expressions of divine power? All these emanate from him. The gods cannot claim any special credit or originality for their extraordinary faculty of action, or their divine sport. All the inspirations, or the impetus comes from him only. The gods are like puppets in a puppet show, which only dance when someone pulls their strings above. They enjoy no rights, no freedom, no responsibilities. He is the fundamental force behind the expression of the various powers of the different gods in the universe. Not only does he provide inspiration and momentum as the cognitive faculty, but as the causal matrix in continuing the entire creation of this universe. He is the creator and controller of the universe, and is thus called Vishvadipa, the supreme lord of the universe. He also withdraws this created universe in himself, and is thus called Rudra, the entity which causes others to weep even while giving them liberation. The whole phenomenon of creation is moving in a particular flow. When an individual flow comes in contact with another individual flow, and when the intellectual movement comes within the scope of measurement, the time factor is created. The collective name of universal movement is Kala or Rudra philosophically. This time factor is a partial manifestation of the supreme entity or Maharishi. Maha plus Rishi. A Rishi is one who cultivates wisdom, who enriches the intellectual field through deep research and innovative discoveries, and harvests the fruits of wisdom. Those who invent deadly weapons such as the hydrogen bomb, which caused the frightening Holocaust, do not help the human intellect attain the height of human perfection, but rather direct their intellect towards crudeness. These types of inventors and their patrons do not deserve to be called rishis. Rather, they are worse than demons, far worse than internal creatures, having forfeited their right to human identity. The rishi says Brahma is Maharishi, the sage of the sages. When Prakriti exercises her sentient influence on the supreme cognitive principle, the latter in the macrocosmic stance is called Virata. In the macrocosmic stance, Vishwa. Similarly, when Prakriti exercises her mutative influence on Purusha, the latter in the macrocosmic stance is called Hiranyagarbha, and in the microcosmic stance, Tajas. The universe is essentially vibrated with the vibrations of Hiranyagarbha. You should not confuse this Hiranyagarbha with the Hiranyagarbha, which is the name of the metamorphosed form of Saguna Brahma. This Hiranyagarbha is basically a philosophical term which doesn't have any relevance for spiritual practitioners. It is dominated by the mutative principle and was created after Prakriti exerted her influence on Brahma. Thus the cosmic existential I was the witness of the origin of Hiranyagarbha. Let this vast macrocosmic entity, who is the witness of Hiranyagarbha's origin, connect our intellect with supreme benevolence. Let him give us proper guidance. This is our sole prayer unto him. The same prayer has been repeated in the Savriti Rik of the Vedas. Om Bhuva Swaha Om Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Maha Prashodayatam. I meditate on the divine effulgence of that Supreme Father, the creator of the seven lokas, so that he can lead my intellect to the supreme intellect. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Yotirgamaya Mrityormamritorgamaya Aviravir Maya Edi Rudrayate Dakshinam Mukam Tenamam Pahi Nityam. O Lord, lead me from the unreal to the real, from darkness to effulgence, from death to immortality. O Lord, manifest your divine effulgence in me. O Rudra, the Supreme One, protect me with your benevolent face on the right.